Welcome to HearFirst. Let's get going with today's top stories. Pahalgam terror attack shakes Kashmir, India. A devastating terrorist attack targeted tourists in Baisaran Meadows, Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir, resulting in the deaths of at least 26 people, including foreign nationals, and injuring several others. The Resistance Front, TRF, believed to be an offshoot of Lashkar-e-Taiba, LET, claimed responsibility. Security forces have launched a massive operation, with NIA teams investigating and one attacker reportedly identified. The attack has drawn widespread condemnation from Indian political leaders and world leaders, including the US, Russia, and the EU. Prime Minister Modi cut short his visit to Saudi Arabia, avoiding Pakistani airspace on his return. Governments like Karnataka have set up helplines for stranded residents, and airlines are operating additional flights from Srinagar to facilitate evacuations. Security has been heightened across tourist spots in India. Pope Francis dies at 88, world. Pope Francis, the head of the Catholic Church, has passed away at the age of 88 following reported complications from a stroke and heart failure. Known for his efforts to reform the Vatican, his focus on social justice, outreach to marginalized communities, and a more pastoral approach, his papacy marked several firsts, including being the first Jesuit pope and the first from the Americas. His death has elicited tributes from global leaders and religious figures. Cardinal Kevin Farrell of the US has taken temporary charge of the Vatican. The Pope's body will lie in state at St. Peter's Basilica for public mourning starting April 23rd, with the funeral scheduled for April 26th. The process to elect his successor through a papal conclave will begin soon. US VP JD Vance visits India. Amid trade tensions, India, US Vice President JD Vance concluded high-level talks with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi. The visit focused on strengthening bilateral ties, particularly navigating trade issues and potential US tariffs imposed by the Trump administration. India is keen to finalize a trade deal and avoid the impact of tariffs, which President Trump recently paused but has previously criticized India over. Discussions also covered enhancing the strategic partnership, especially concerning regional security and counterbalancing China's influence in the Indo-Pacific. Vance, accompanied by his family, also visited cultural sites, underscoring the personal and diplomatic dimensions of the visit aimed at bolstering cooperation between the two nations under the current US administration. Trump signals policy shifts on Fed, China tariffs, State Dept. US world. US President Donald Trump has made several significant policy statements recently. He indicated he has no intention of firing Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, easing market concerns after previous criticisms. Trump also suggested that the steep tariffs imposed on Chinese goods, a cornerstone of his trade war, will come down substantially, hinting at a potential de-escalation, although specifics remain unclear. Concurrently, his administration plans a major overhaul of the State Department, aiming to cut around 700 jobs and numerous bureaus, a move drawing scrutiny. Furthermore, reports indicate Elon Musk plans to reduce his advisory work for the Trump administration, focus more on Tesla, following a drop in the company's profits. Putin reportedly offers ceasefire on current front lines. World reports suggest Russian President Vladimir Putin has indicated a willingness to halt the war in Ukraine based on the current battlefield lines, potentially withdrawing claims to fully control regions like Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhzhia, which Russia partially occupies. This comes amidst ongoing international efforts and discussions surrounding the conflict. European nations continue to pledge military support for Ukraine, while the US has faced internal debate regarding its aid strategy. Simultaneously, diplomatic channels remain active, though previous ceasefire proposals, including reported Easter truce offers, have faced rejection. The situation remains volatile, with ongoing fighting and complex negotiations potentially ahead. IMF lowers global growth forecast, cites trade wars, world. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has revised its global economic growth forecast downwards, primarily attributing the slowdown to the ongoing trade disputes and tariffs initiated by the US under President Trump. The fund warned that protectionist measures are hindering international trade and investment, impacting economies worldwide. The IMF specifically cautioned India, among other nations, about the potential negative repercussions of these global trade tensions on its own economic trajectory. This outlook underscores the interconnectedness of the global economy and the significant impact that trade policies enacted by major economies like the US can have on international financial stability and growth prospects across developed and developing nations. UPSC declares Civil Services 2024. Results: Women secure top ranks, India. The Union Public Service Commission, UPSC, has announced the final results for the prestigious Civil Services Examination 2024. This year, women candidates have achieved remarkable success, securing 3 of the top 5 ranks, continuing a trend seen in recent years. Shakti Dubey secured the All India Rank 1, followed by Harshita Goyal at Rank 3 and Dongre Arshit Parag, also featuring in the top ranks. The results mark the culmination of a rigorous multi-stage examination process for recruitment into top government services like the Indian Administrative Service, IAS, Indian Police Service, IPS, and Indian Foreign Service, IFS. Success stories of toppers often inspire aspirants across the country. China prepares for Shenzhou 20 crewed space mission. World. China is set to launch its Shenzhou 20 crewed mission to its Tiangong space station on April 24th. The mission will carry 3 astronauts, Chen Dong, Chen Zhongrui, and Wang Ji. This launch continues China's ambitious space program, which includes maintaining a permanent presence in orbit with its modular space station. The Tiangong station serves as a platform for scientific experiments and technological demonstrations in microgravity. Regular crew rotations via Shenzhou missions are crucial for the station's long-term operation and research activities. This mission highlights China's growing capabilities and commitment to space exploration, positioning it as a major player alongside the US and Russia in orbital activities. Israeli military operations continue in Gaza and Lebanon. World. Israeli military actions persist in the region, with recent airstrikes reported in both Gaza and Lebanon. In Gaza, strikes have resulted in civilian casualties and the destruction of heavy equipment reportedly used for recovering bodies from rubble, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. Israel also announced the completion of a new security corridor near Gaza's southern city of Rafah, potentially indicating preparations for expanded operations. Concurrently, airstrikes in southern Lebanon killed at least 2 individuals, including an Islamist leader affiliated with a group allied to Hezbollah. These cross-border escalations and ongoing operations in Gaza maintain high tensions across the region amidst the protracted conflict. Canadian Liberals gain momentum. Ahead of potential election, world. Recent opinion polls in Canada indicate a surge in support for the governing Liberal Party, led by Prime Minister Mark Carney, placing them ahead of the opposition Conservatives. This shift comes as speculation mounts about a potential early federal election, possibly as soon as April 28th. The polling data suggests a dynamic political landscape where the Liberals may be capitalizing on recent events or policy announcements. If an election is called, key issues likely to dominate the campaign would include the economy, healthcare, climate change, and international relations. The coming weeks will be crucial in determining whether this momentum holds and if Canadians will head to the polls sooner than expected. Thank you for listening to Hear First.